First story. I mistakenly accused my boyfriend of being a thief and kicked him out of my house, just like his family disowned him when he was 17, believing he stole the money. Now, I found my money and went to apologize, but he didn't let me and said I reopened his wounds. Help me gain his trust again. So, I might have messed up big time. Honestly, though, I feel like it wasn't entirely my fault. But let me explain, and you can tell me what to do here. I 28F have been dating Jack 30M for about 2 years. He moved into my house 6 months ago, which I thought was a good idea at the time because he'd been talking about saving money and getting his life together. I've got my own place, a stable job, and I worked hard to get where I am. So I thought I was being pretty generous by letting him move in without asking for much in return. He helps out with groceries sometimes and splits bills here and there. But let's be real, most of the financial load is on me. Now, here's the thing. I've had my trust broken a lot in the past. Friends, family, exes, people always end up using me or manipulating me. So I don't put up with any shady behavior. I'm not dumb, and I've learned to look out for red flags. That's where Jack comes in. He's sweet and all, but he grew up poor and doesn't always have the same understanding of money as I do. I've never thought much of it until recently. A couple of days ago, I noticed that $500 cash I kept hidden under my bed was missing. I know for a fact I didn't spend it. That money was for emergencies only, and I hadn't touched it in months. I tore my room apart looking for it, checked every drawer, my closet, and under furniture, and found nothing. The only person who could have known about that money was Jack. He saw me put it under the bed once when we were cleaning, so naturally, I got suspicious. Then, the day I noticed it was gone, Jack was acting kind of weird. He was fidgety and quieter than usual, which only made me more certain that he'd taken it. When I confronted him about it, he got all defensive and kept saying, "I didn't take your money. I don't know what you're talking about." That just pissed me off more because if he didn't take it, then who else could have? No one else has access to my house. I'll admit, I lost it. I told him I wasn't going to be some sugar mama for a thief, and that if he was going to betray my trust, he could get out of my house. I might have called him some things I regret now: pathetic, a leech, and maybe worse. I didn't even let him explain because I knew if I did, he'd just try to manipulate me like people always do. He packed his stuff and left, and I felt pretty justified. I mean, I worked hard for my money, and I'm not about to let some guy steal from me under my own roof. But then, the next day, I was organizing my closet and found the $500 in a box in my cupboard. I must have moved it there months ago and completely forgotten. Honestly, I felt sick. I knew immediately that I'd made a huge mistake, but at the same time, I couldn't help thinking, why was he acting so weird? Then, if he hadn't been so shady, I probably wouldn't have jumped to conclusions, right? I still feel like this whole situation wasn't entirely my fault, because he could have done a better job explaining himself or acting normal. Anyway, it's been 2 days since I kicked him out, and he hasn't tried to contact me at all. I thought he'd at least text to clear things up or check in, but no, complete silence. Now I'm wondering if I overreacted, or if I've just completely ruined our relationship. Part of me feels like I shouldn't have to grovel or beg for forgiveness because I was acting out of fear and past trauma. But another part of me knows I owe him some kind of apology. The problem is, I don't even know how to start that conversation. What am I supposed to say? "Hey, I found the money, my bad." That feel insufficient. I know I need to apologize, but I also feel like he should understand where I was coming from. I've been burned so many times before, and I thought he'd at least get why I reacted the way I did. Am I crazy for thinking that? How do I even begin to fix this? I don't want to lose him, but I also don't want to look like a total doormat. Comments. By you/truthhurts123. So you accused him with no proof, kicked him out, called him names, and now you want him to understand why you acted like that? Girl, he's probably thanking his lucky stars he's rid of you. You don't deserve him. Fix yourself. No more excuses. Wow, you really made yourself the victim here. You ruined your relationship with baseless accusations and disrespect. He doesn't owe you anything now. He's better off without this nonsense. Use of AITAH. You didn't just overreact, you showed him who you really are. Selfish, entitled, and incapable of trust. If he's smart, he'll stay gone. You owe him more than an apology, you owe him better, period. Update. So, it's been a week since I kicked Jack out, and I honestly don't know what to do anymore. He hasn't reached out to me at all, no texts, no calls, nothing. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I've tried texting him to apologize, but he's left me on read. I called him twice, and both times it went straight to voicemail. I even sent a long message explaining everything, how I jumped to conclusions because of my past, how I know I was wrong, and how sorry I am for everything, but he hasn't responded. I'm at a complete loss. I thought he'd at least want to clear the air or hear me out, but it's like he's just erased me from his life. I didn't think he'd be this cold. I know I messed up, but isn't the fact that I'm trying to fix things worth something? I ended up reaching out to his best friend, Mike, to try and get some insight into how Jack's feeling. Big mistake. Mike basically told me that Jack is hurt and doesn't want to talk to me right now. He said I needed to respect his boundaries and give him space. But the way he said it really pissed me off. Like, he acted like I'm this terrible person for making a mistake. I told him that I'm doing my best to fix things and that Jack shouldn't just shut me out completely. But Mike wasn't having it. He told me straight up, "You didn't just accuse him, you destroyed his trust. He's not obligated to forgive you. And if you really care about him, you'll leave him alone." That stung, but honestly, I'm not sure I agree. Yes, I screwed up. Yes, I overreacted. But I was acting out of fear and past trauma, and I'm trying to make up for it. Isn't that what matters? People make mistakes all the time, and couples are supposed to work through them together. If he loved me, wouldn't he at least give me a chance? I'm torn now. Part of me thinks I should give him the space he clearly wants. But another part of me feels like I need to show him how serious I am about fixing this. If he won't respond to my texts, should I just show up at his place and apologize in person? I'm worried that if I wait too long, he'll think I don't care and move on. I don't want to lose him over a stupid misunderstanding. I've also been doing a lot of thinking about my own behavior, and I can admit that I handled this situation badly. Okay, really badly. I jumped to conclusions without giving him the benefit of the doubt. And I said things that no one should ever say to someone they care about. I don't know how to stop myself in the moment. When I feel betrayed, it's like my brain shuts off, and all I can think about is protecting myself. It's not an excuse, but it's the truth. I've been looking into therapy to deal with my trust issues, because I know this isn't healthy. But what if it's too late? What if Jack's already decided I'm not worth the trouble? I don't know what to do. Should I keep trying to reach out? Or should I give him time and risk losing him for good? I need advice. Comments. U/Brutalianist99. OP, you're still making this all about you. He's not responding because he's hurt and done. You didn't just accuse him of theft, you humiliated him, insulted him, and destroyed the foundation of your relationship. And now you're mad that he's not rushing to forgive you. He owes you nothing. Respect his boundaries and take this as a wake-up call to fix yourself before you ever try to be in a relationship again. You accountability ability. Girl, stop. You're not the victim here. Jack isn't being cold. He's protecting himself from someone who treated him like garbage. Imagine being accused of stealing, thrown out of your home, and then being told you're acting weird as a justification for it. That's what you did to him. Leave him alone and start working on yourself, because your entitlement is off the charts. Leave him alone. Showing up at his place unannounced. Really? That's not an apology, it's harassment. He's made it clear he needs space, and you're ignoring it because you feel uncomfortable. Do you even realize how much you've hurt him? Or are you just worried about losing your safety net? Therapy is a good idea, but step 1 is leaving this man alone. If he wants to talk to you, he'll reach out. Until then, back off. Update. Alright, Reddit, I'll admit it. After reading your comments, I didn't know whether to cry or scream. At first, I was furious. I felt like everyone was ganging up on me, like nobody understood how much my past has shaped the way I react to situations like this. But the more I sat with it, the more I realized, maybe you were all right. Maybe I was making this all about me. Then, just when I thought I couldn't feel worse, Mike showed up at my door with a letter from Jack. I was shocked. Mike told me that Jack wrote it himself, but asked Mike to deliver it because he couldn't face me directly. Hearing that made my stomach drop. I'd thought maybe Jack just needed a little time to cool off. But this felt final. I didn't know what to expect, but I could tell it wasn't going to be good. I opened the letter after Mike left, and by the time I finished reading it, I was bawling. Jack started by saying he appreciated that I tried to apologize, but that he wasn't ready to hear from me directly. He said he needed to explain why this whole situation hit him so hard, not to make me feel guilty, but so I could understand why he needed to distance himself from me. Then he told me something I never knew about him. When Jack was 17, he was falsely accused of stealing money from his father. His family didn't believe him. No matter how much he swore, he didn't take it. His dad called him a liar and a thief. His mom cried like he'd destroyed her trust. and his siblings completely turned against him. They disowned him, told him he wasn't welcome in their home anymore, and kicked him out with nothing but a bag of clothes. He told me he spent years trying to rebuild his life, trying to prove he wasn't the person they accused him of being, but his family never took him back. They cut him off entirely, and he's been carrying that trauma ever since. Jack wrote, "When you accused me, it felt like I was 17 again, like everything I went through was happening all over. I could see the way you looked at me, like you didn't know me, like I was just some thief who didn't deserve a chance to explain. I was scared. I felt small. And I couldn't believe the person I trusted most in the world was throwing me away the same way my family did. Reading that broke me. I never knew. He'd hinted before that he had a rough relationship with his family, but he never gave me the details, and I never pushed him to share. I thought I was respecting his boundaries, but now I realize I missed so many signs. Like how he always tried to avoid conflict, even when he was clearly upset. How he got uncomfortable whenever we talked about money. How he flinched whenever I raised my voice during arguments. All of it suddenly made sense. And the way he acted, weird, the day I accused him. He wasn't being shady, he was terrified. Terrified I was going to throw him away, just like his family did. Jack ended the letter by saying he doesn't hate me, but he can't talk to me right now. He needs time to process everything, and he's asking me to respect his need for space. He said, "I don't know what the future holds, but for now, please don't contact me. I need to heal, and I can't do that with you in my life right now." He also told me to think about my own actions. He didn't say it to be cruel, he said it because he thinks I need to reflect on why I jumped to conclusions and lashed out at him the way I did. He told me he hopes I'll take the time to work on myself, not just for his sake, but for my own. I've spent the past few days rereading that letter, and every time I do, I feel like the worst person alive. I accused someone I loved of being a thief with no proof. I humiliated him, insulted him, and threw him out of my home when all he did was care about me. And worse, I reopened a wound he spent years trying to heal. I don't even have the words to describe how ashamed I feel. Your comments were right. I made this all about me. Even when I apologized, it was more about easing my own guilt than understanding Jack's pain. I couldn't see past my own feelings of betrayal and fear to consider what he might have been going through. I used my past trauma as an excuse to justify my toxic behavior, and I didn't realize how abusive I was being until it was too late. Looking back, I see now that Jack hinted at his discomfort many times, but I ignored it. I brushed off his flinching as just how he is. I overlooked the way he avoided conflict because it made things easier for me. I dismissed the small signs that he was hurting because I was too focused on myself. And when it came down to it, I treated him the same way his family did, like someone who didn't deserve trust or respect. For now, I'm going to respect Jack's wishes and leave him alone. As much as it hurts to let go, I know I've caused him enough pain, and pushing him to talk to me would only make things worse. If he decides someday that he's ready to talk, I'll be here, but I can't rush that. He deserves the time and space to heal. In the meantime, I've started therapy to address my trust issues and the way I handle conflict. I can't keep blaming my past for my behavior. It's time to take responsibility and learn how to deal with my emotions in a healthy way. I've also started journaling to reflect on my actions and hold myself accountable. This situation has been a wake-up call, and I don't ever want to hurt someone I care about like this again. To everyone who called me out in the comments, thank you. It wasn't easy to hear, but I needed the reality check. I don't know if Jack will ever forgive me, and honestly, I'm not sure I deserve his forgiveness. But I'm going to use this experience to grow and be better for myself and for anyone I care about in the future. Second story. My husband died 2 weeks ago, but he was happy I'm pregnant with his baby, and my delusional friend set up a blind date with my creepy stalker, who was obsessed and harassed me. He said, "Now my husband is dead. We can enjoy ourselves," so I ditched him. Now, my so-called friend and her husband are forcing me to get with that guy, saying he will raise my baby, and he started harassing me, causing my miscarriage. I just really need some clarity on this situation. I, 23F, lost my husband, 25M, weeks ago to a car accident. He was the love of my life, and I'm still not used to waking up without him every day. We have big plans for our future, and it all came crashing down in a heartbeat. We met on his uncle's farm. He was a farmhand, and it was love at first sight for me. I'm also 4 months pregnant, but I haven't told anyone. I was planning on telling my friend when I was feeling better. My best friend Lee, 24F, has been my shoulder to cry on during this time. She helped me with his funeral and anything else I needed. As I'm NC with my bio family story for another time. She is currently dating Barry, 24M. They usually hang out in a trio with Liam, 24M. When I first met Liam, he hit on me hard, tried everything. As in he would try and compare himself with my husband. Say weird things like our kids would be cuter than if you had kids with my husband. He's also made weird comments like, I need a city boy, and would motion himself, when I'm a country girl through and through. I typically would shut him down or ignore him. But I would always get dirty looks from Barry. Skip to Sunday night. I got a message from Lee begging me to come to dinner with her, because she wanted to treat me as I had been through a lot in the last couple of weeks. Feeling not so SHT about myself, I decided to go. When I arrived, she wasn't there, so I texted her asking how long she would be, and she told me 5 minutes. She's just running late and is around the corner, so I just sat down and ordered a drink. Now 5 minutes comes, and she's still not there, so I gave her the benefit of the doubt and waited another 5. When I'm about to call her, Liam comes rushing over and gives his apologies for being late. I asked him what's he doing here because I'm waiting for Lee, and it was a 2-chair table. He smiles at me and grabs my hand. I ripped it off of him, and he just says, oh, I asked Lee to set us up. Now that husband's name isn't a problem, we can finally get to know each other. He looked so cringy. And I'm telling you, I was floored. I stood up and told him that I wasn't interested, and I certainly didn't give a flying F about getting to know him, and that I just lost my husband. Without a word of a lie, this man stands up and says, I know you're being overly emotional right now, so I'll forgive you for that. Sit down with me. I'm not saying we have to have his ex straight away or anything. I was disgusted. I shoved past him and went home as fast as I could. When I did get home, Lee messaged me, so how was dinner? With a smirk emoji. I called her, and when she answered, I didn't let her get a word in. I yelled at her and asked her how she had the audacity to do something like this weeks after I just lost my husband, when she's been the one to hold me together this whole time. I asked her what effing game she was playing, and that the only reason I wanted to meet tonight with her was to tell her I'm pregnant. I just hung up on her and texted her that I need time and don't want to be contacted by her for the time being. Last night Barry came to my house and asked to talk. I said no, and that if he didn't leave, I'd call the police. He told me that I broke Lee's heart, and that I deeply hurt Liam, when now is an even better time to get to know Liam, because he could raise my child. With me, I opened my door, which Barry took as I wanted to talk. Instead, I hit him with my shoes and chased him to his car, screaming. I'm actually embarrassed I did that. All day today, I'm being flooded with messages from friends, and the trio themselves shaming me for pushing the people who care about me the most away, and that they don't even recognize the person I've become. The only thing that hurts me most is that my husband would know what to do. He would tell me how to fix it, and now I have no one who I can talk to. I'm just so numb inside. I have a therapy appointment tomorrow, but I'm thinking of calling my husband's mom, even though we've barely spoken since the funeral. Any advice is appreciated. Please excuse any typos. I'm just so exhausted. Edit. I made a new account for this post, as some friends have my main, and I'd rather have some time to grasp this whole thing before I answer anyone personally. Thank you. I have a small update on another post. Update. Hello all, and thank you. I just wanted to start off with I called my Mill Louise. After making the post, I thought that I needed to tell her about the baby, because just like some of you said, she is overjoyed about the news. She didn't answer my call, but instead drove straight over to my house. I honestly didn't know what to say to her, but we just hugged and cried all night. I didn't have the best delivery about how I am pregnant, probably due to all the crying, but she just lit up and was so happy. It's the first time I've seen her be this happy in all the time I've known her, so at least I have some support. My Phil came over when he finished work after Mill told him he needed to come to my house, and he was too overjoyed about becoming a pop. Louise offered to have the baby, and I move in and I agreed. She said that I can sleep in my husband's old room, which was a little bittersweet. When I told her what was going on with Liam and Barry, she was furious, and told me not to worry about it, because Mill and Phil have my back. After a lot of even more crying, Phil told me that my husband would be so happy to have this baby grow up on a farm like my husband did. Overall, our conversations last night was a something I needed. Now I'm just going to answer some comments. 1. No, this isn't fake. And if you choose to believe that, then that's fine. But don't be dragging my husband when you don't even know him. Liam didn't kill my husband. It was a car accident, and my husband died on impact. Nothing crazy went on. It's just awful. But it is as simple as that. 2. Lee was my friend for a long time. She was genuinely there for me when I went NC with my parents, and I thought she was a decent friend. Now knowing the truth, there are many things I can think of that she did that are red flags. Personally, I think I ignored them because I have never been close to anyone like that other than my husband. 3. Liam is a loser. And from my chat with Barry, I learned that he's always had feelings for me. And he's never given up because apparently he's my type. He isn't and never will be. 4. Yes, I ordered a drink. I didn't think I needed to disclose that I ordered a lemonade. It was simply a soda, nothing wild. I know I'm pregnant, and I'd never do anything silly. 5. I'm not magically pregnant. My husband and I both wanted children young and were trying for about a year. We just didn't disclose that we were trying because my husband, and I think it's weird telling people, oh, we're having SX an extra amount. I don't know, but my husband and I are very private people and kept a lot of it that way. And as for the trio, I've blocked them. None of my family are reaching out because they simply don't know me anymore. The only friends who are reaching out are mutuals of either Lee, Barry, or one of Liam's other friends. I was confused about if I was an arsehole because I just left Liam standing there and yelled at Lee. I was so upset I was confused about the entire thing. But thank you all, and I will update you on what happens because I know Liam will not give up until he's in jail. I seriously hope it doesn't come to that. But the fact he drove past my house twice is uneasy. So I'm hopeful the move to my husband's parents' farm will have my baby and myself on a better path. New update. Firstly, some good news. I found out that I'm having a little girl. I am actually feeling a little bit better today and thought I'd update. I moved in my in-laws the next morning after they had come over. We went to the police, and unfortunately, there is nothing they can do unless he trespasses or comes into physical contact with me, pretty much until he gets worse. But I did take the initiative and move, so they think he will be less of a threat now that I don't live in that house. But they did take my screenshots of his weird, creepy messages and noted that he has been driving past relentlessly. After a few days, we came into town to go grocery shopping, and we saw Lee. She went to come over, but my mill stared at her and yelled, no. Lee looked a bit awkward because my mill was yelling, yes, I'm talking to you, Lee. Go bother someone else with your bullshit tea. Lee did end up walking away, which we thought was good. I was greatly overwhelmed, obviously, about seeing her, and my anxiety has gotten worse since the blind date. I think I was also anxious because Lee is never without Barry, so I was very worried. When we had finished shopping and were walking back to our car, Lee and Barry were waiting for us. But again my mill started screaming. She was yelling he was scum, and they were trying to sell drugs to a pregnant woman, pretty much anything to embarrass them and to draw a crowd. Lee and Barry did leave again, not without looking scared points to Mill. Since I moved into the farm, it has been drama-free. I had an appointment yesterday and found out about my baby girl, but also that I have high blood pressure, most likely due to the stress. But we're going to have to watch it just in case of preeclampsia, as my egg donor had it. My husband has always wanted a girl, so I know she is a gift from him. But apart from the grocery store incident and the police, it's been very positive for me being with my in-laws and their dog, Spud. Don't ask. I don't know why that's his name. Thank you again. Update. Thank you to everyone who helped me with my issues about Lee and the others. It's over. I was attacked and suffered greatly. I lost my baby a month ago, and I will be logging off for a while. I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you for the kindness. Enjoy your holidays. J. Third story. My infertile sister demands I give my baby to her, claiming I don't deserve my baby because I'm single. Parents took her side and spread rumors I'm abusing my baby. And now my sister and Bill showed up at my house demanding my baby. So I went and see. I-27F got pregnant unexpectedly after a short relationship. The father isn't involved, but I decided to keep the baby. My family has been supportive, except for my older sister 34F, who has been struggling with infertility for years. From the moment she found out I was pregnant, she kept making comments like, "It's not fair that you get to be a mom when you're not even married." She even suggested multiple times that I let her and her husband adopt my baby since they're better equipped to raise a child. I shut that down every time. After my son was born, she came to visit and started crying when she held him. I felt bad until she said, "He should have been mine. You can't provide what he needs like we can." I told her she was way out of line, and she exploded, calling me selfish for hoarding the baby while she's destined to be childless. I asked her to leave, and now she's telling our family that I'm heartless and ruining her only chance at being a mom. Some relatives think I should at least consider it, since being a single mom is hard. AITA. Comments. Over. If I love and care for my child, and I'm spoken to like that, she would no longer be my sister, unless she can get therapy and sort that SHT out. If she's willing to adopt, why does it have to be the adoption of your child? NTA. K33 or Z3Z4. Because that would take time and cost money. And why should she wait when OP, being the little harlot she is, has a baby in desperate need of a mother right there for the pickings? Perez. My God. She needs intensive therapy starting yesterday. Children aren't commodities to be bartered or distributed to the worthy. While I can empathize that she's struggling, she needs to get help. And so does her husband if he thinks the way she's acting is okay. Her getting a baby in the state she's in wouldn't be good for anyone, least of all the baby. Informal place, 70-196. And what's with the relatives suggesting OP should consider it? On what planet would this be something to consider? The sister's behavior is inappropriate at best, and she's in dire need of mental help. In no way would she be a good choice for an adoptive parent at the moment, even if OP was looking. NTA. K33 per 304. A lot of people would rather placate the one making the noise than tell them to do some self-reflection. Or OP is the squirrel in the nut house, and everybody is living with a skewed sense of what's right. Yes, being a single mother is hard, but nowhere near impossible. Anyone not suggesting the sister get help shouldn't be anywhere near the baby. I'd be worried one of them might accidentally sneak her out the door to her sister. Judgment NTA. Update 10 days later. Wow, I didn't expect this much attention. But thank you to everyone who weighed in, even those who disagreed. A lot has happened since my original post, so here's the update. After I kicked my sister out, she ramped up the drama. She started posting cryptic messages on social media about selfish people and babies in the wrong hands. Then, she went full tilt, outright claiming that I was neglecting my son and that CPS should step in. She didn't tag me, but everyone in our circle knew who she was talking about. I was furious, but also scared, so I started documenting everything. Texts, social media posts, and anything she said to other family members. I also spoke to a lawyer to make sure my rights were secure and to prepare for any crazy moves on her part. Then came the final straw. She showed up at my house unannounced with her husband, claiming they just wanted to talk. I refused to let them in, and my sister yelled through the door, "You're ruining this baby's life." Her husband tried to guilt me, saying, "We'd give him a better future, and you know it." I told him to leave or I'd call the police. After that, I decided to go low contact with her and anyone who sided with her. My parents initially tried to mediate, but when I showed them all the messages and screenshots, they finally backed me up. Now, they're furious with my sister, especially since she's still spreading lies about me. I also reached out to CPS preemptively to let them know about the situation, just in case she tried anything. They assured me there was no issue as long as my baby was safe and well cared for, which he absolutely is. As of now, I've cut my sister out of my life completely. She's still telling anyone who will listen that I'm selfish and ruining her life, but I'm done engaging. My focus is on my son, who's happy, healthy, and exactly where he belongs. Thanks again for the support. It gave me the confidence to stand my ground. For anyone else dealing with entitled family members, trust your instincts and protect your peace. Comments. Do yogurt for the 916. Move forward with a restraining order. This is not done. I want to be an anemone. No child should be subjected to that kind of unhinged, delusional, and selfish behavior. I guarantee she has a perfect life planned out for her future baby, no matter who she has to rip the child from, and will emotionally mentally abuse them for daring to deviate from her picture-perfect parenthood fantasy. That woman isn't safe. Her enabling husband feeding her delusion only makes her more dangerous. Congrats on taking defensive measures. Keep documenting and hold her accountable when she continues to escalate. Understand that every milestone, first holiday, first birthday, first everything is going to be a trigger for this woman. If you're able to, set up a second social media account that's set exclusively to private if you really need to post anything to your friends' family regarding the baby. Make sure sister has no access to that account, ever. Preemptively block her. Keep your primary account active to monitor her slander, as evidence she's been consistent in her harassment or continuing to escalate. Get door cameras in case she shows up again. Triple check if you're using baby cams to ensure no one else can access the live video feed. Change your Wi-Fi password in case you ever have your sister access to your network, because a lot of baby monitoring things these days connect via the home Wi-Fi. If your sister has ever had access to your house keys, change the locks. It may seem paranoid and over the top, but if you get it all done now, then you'll have peace of mind, with no fear of any regrets should she try something. Good luck. Ex-Queen Sunshine. NTA at all. Honestly, your sister crossed so many lines. You're doing what's best for your baby, and she's out here spreading lies and causing drama. Good for you for protecting your peace and your baby. Some family just needs to be cut off. Keep doing you. Mama, thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.